Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from NFL playoffs to pro and college basketball, UFC, MMA, and much more. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BLEAV. That's BLEAV to receive your rewards. BetOnline.AG, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother, Teja Dash. Guys, All-Star weekend there were some highlights to it, some fireworks. And there's a lot to get into on that. Talk about the All-Star game, talk about the All-Star draft, which that was very interesting too. Before that, so the All-Star weekend, I think it was Friday night. There's some hoopla about Kevin Love getting bought out in Cleveland. This is a guy that we had talked about, a potential buyout candidate. And Eric actually 2 weeks ago on our show said Dwayne Dedmon and Kevin Love were the two guys we need to go after. I think Kevin Love, then Dwayne Dedmon. We signed Dedmon, obviously. That's why we made the nickname Snowstradamus. And then Saturday morning, Kevin Love said he was going to intend to sign with Miami, but wanted to talk to Philadelphia first. Eric, you were on that before anybody, before Woj and all those guys. But what do you guys think we lost out? I mean, he ultimately signed with Miami, but do you think we lost out, or do you think it's going to be more so Kevin Love lost out on a chance to play for Philadelphia when it's all said and done?
Excuse me. You know, it's interesting. I think Kevin was more of – I think he wanted to be in a warmer weather place. I think that's one. I think he wanted, it's been proven that warmer weather is better for your bones, your joints. That's been proven. Mm-hmm. But I just think that as much as we had a need for a guy like Kevin, Miami's need is bigger.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more minutes there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He can play with Bam. He can play behind Bam. I just think it's a lot more minutes for him. The fit is, it's hard to say he made the wrong decision. I would have loved for him to come and try to get a run with us, but I think from his perspective and his style of play and what he brings to the table, I think he made the best decision.
Yeah, I think you got minutes, you got playing time, minutes, money, location. I think location, obviously, Miami won. Minutes, Miami won. And money, I think Miami also won because we only have just over the minimum available. So, I mean, unless you're that sure about the Sixers going all the way, which is obviously not, that's not a sure thing. So unless you're sure about that and climbing on for a championship run, then you got to go with the other ones. You have to go with the minutes. You have to go with the money. You have to go with the
Kevin won one, so I don't think that.
Yeah.
That's something that he's like, hey, I got to,
Probably wants to just play.
Yeah, I'm saying if that was the case. I mean, it's I heard Golden State was maybe one of the teams that has some interest, and you kind of go there. I mean, I know they're not as quote unquote record-wise as good as they were last year, but I won't bet against them in a 7-game series.
If he went to Golden State, I think everyone would see that for exactly what it is, trying to climb on for a championship run. Yeah.
What do you make of the whole? Because Saturday morning, the report was he intends to sign with Miami, but wants to talk to Philadelphia first. What do you make of that, Eric? What do you make of that whole thing?
I mean, I think that he kind of had his mind made up where he was going to go. But I think sometimes before you kind of make that decision, you at least want to hear someone out to see what that presentation is, that offer is, and then go back and compare it. I think the Philadelphia was maybe a distant second, but I think he was probably looking more to how to confirm his Miami decision more so than thinking about going somewhere else.
I think he got it from LeBron. Didn't LeBron do that to us too when he went to LA?
He took a meeting with us.
Yeah, I don't think LeBron ever considered Philly. From what I was told, New York would have been probably second, and Chicago was a distant third. But who knows?
Yeah. Out of respect for our guys, he met with us that year.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Love was doing here, showing some love to Philly.
Yeah.
Kevin Love. I mean, come on, man. The stars were aligned.
It would have worked out, yeah. It would have been a nice T-shirt.
That
would have been amazing.
Little teasing Love, but yeah, he wasn't coming.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we said we're going to talk about the All-Star break festivities, and the Sixers were kind of the talk of, in some ways, talk of the weekend with our newly signed Mac McClung being the highlight of All-Star weekend with the dunk contest, winning that, putting on a show for everybody. And obviously those who keep up with this stuff have known Mac McClung had ups for a long time. This mixtape's coming out of high school and stuff. But big thing everyone's saying is Mac McClung saved the slam dunk contest. A lot of people are saying that. The players are saying that. I want to ask you guys, do you think Mac McClung saved the slam dunk contest?
I wouldn't say he saved it. I would say he entertained us. But it's from what we can see, the dunk contest is on a year-by-year basis. Yeah. I think Levine and Gordon, that battle right there, if that didn't save it, I don't really know what can. So I just think he entertained us when most folk expectations, if you hear people talk, the expectation for the dunk contest has lowered. But I think he came out and he put on a good show, and that's if you can do that, if we can consistently do that, I think in a way we can go forward. But it's just from a year-to-year basis with guys going vocal and going public about not wanting to do it. I just don't know how you can still do it because Mac can come out and it's like the event where I don't know if the same guy can keep doing it every year. It's almost like different people have to do it because if Mac come, I'm sure he got 3 or 4 dunks that he didn't do that he can go in there, but will it be the same enthusiasm next year? It wouldn't be a surprise.
When you're watching guys open torn up papers and like pasting together the number 50, then yeah, we'll be waiting for McClung's next dunk.
So
poor Jericho Sims, that was awful.
Yeah, I mean, the All-Star, it's hard, man. I mean, and if you have the guys that people, I would say not people that want to see, like the most popular guys that people would love to see in a dunk contest, not doing it, I think that hurts the product of the dunk contest. You can change it, you can change rules, you can do it however you want to do it, but I think at the end of the day, back when I was young, it was the best dunkers were doing it.
Yeah,
Jay was doing it, Dominique was doing it, Jordan was doing it. Where they didn't do it every year, you have a Larry Nance that'll win it that wasn't as popular as those guys. Spud Webb wasn't very popular, but he did something. He's a short guy, but he did some good. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't always a popular guy, but Dominique was in it that year that Spud won it. So,
you can make your name that way. Yeah. I mean, people are gonna get McClung jerseys now. You know what I mean? Like people know him now from this.
It helps him a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
it necessarily help the league, but it helps him.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I don't think it's going to make star players come out for it, but it'll make other guys who are maybe afraid to lose with not that big of a name be like, you know what?
I think for a guy that's already in the league and playing well and having success, and this is more of a question more so than a comment. Will losing hurt you more than winning help you?
I think losing only hurts if you're
your guy is in the league and playing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the dunk contest is different. Now, 3-point shooting contest, I don't think it hurts anybody because they go by their percentages. That's what they're gonna go by what they do during the season anyway. They're not going to go by what they do in the 3-point contest. They're going to go by how they shoot during the season. But that's a transferable skill that's displayed during the season where the dunk is like a specialty.
Yes. I don't think you would hurt John.
Vince Carter's like the only guy I've seen that's doing dunk contest dunks in games consistently.
Yeah. I just don't think it would hurt Morant if he lost. I mean, no one would remember that in a year from now if he lost the other night.
Come on, man. That's all people talk about is what people don't do.
Well, people are talking about him being scared to do it anyway. So is it that much better? Is being scared to try better than trying?
So they say he's scared to try. You don't think those same people say he lost?
Then I don't think he'll lose anything then because the same people are still saying negative things.
Yeah,
right?
you giving it too much, benefit of doubt. But if they're being negative before, they're gonna be negative after. Like they're not going to say, "Hey, well, you tried." No, that's not how this is operating from the top.
These are guys that walk in with like those ugly ass cartoon red boots. They don't give a shit what people say about them. So like, who cares if you lose a dunk contest, man? Like at this point, like I've seen some of Russell Westbrook's outfits when he walks into games, dude. Don't care about losing a dunk contest. Like just do it. Just do it. Try your best.
Yeah, I don't think they particularly care. I was just asking the question: does it hurt more than it help?
But hurt? What do you mean by hurt? Like image?
Not necessarily the image, but does it hurt the fact that you doing it? Like, does it make you want to do it again? Like, do you keep trying? Do you just do it that one time, you lose, and you don't do it anymore? Like, what do? You keep doing it until you win? Like, what's the process of doing it?
Just trying it once.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, Ja Morant get in there and Shaedon Sharp get in there, who I think is a special dunker from what I've seen. He beats Ja Morant, then what? Does Ja do it again next year?
If he wants to.
I'm just saying, but if he doesn't, he's looked at as a dunk contest loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost. No, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what y'all do to people. When they don't win this and they don't do that, you say
I don't remember Dominique losing the web. You know what I mean? I don't even remember he was in that one anymore.
Because he shouldn't have, really. I mean, in most people's opinion, he didn't lose to Spud. That's what they were saying. A lot of people that are Dominique fans was like, he had the better dunk. Spud was a shorter guy.
Yeah.
But you got to give Spud credit. He won it.
Yeah. And I don't think it took away from Dominique's dunking prowess is what I'm saying. I don't think it
because Dominique was scoring 25 plus points a game.
I mean, Morant, I could use that argument with Morant too, though, right?
Yeah, but Dominique also won.
So you're saying it's okay to lose?
He did multiple. Like if Dominique didn't win, they wouldn't even talk about, how is he one of the best dunkers? He don't even win a dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dominique lost the year Jordan won. A lot of people were saying Dominique should have won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like it's people to say that.
Yeah, I don't go back to your original question. I don't think it saved anything. I think I'm with Eric on that one. I think it's a year-to-year thing because I don't think big name guys want to do it. They're afraid to lose or whatever. I especially like if Mac McClung said I'm in next year. I think that's even less of a reason for big name guys to do it because they don't want to lose McClung. Now they definitely want. If there was nobody they're scared of, I'd say they'd be more likely to do it. Now they lose the McClung. It's like, oh, Morant, you let him beat you. It's like then it's even worse actually for their image.
Yeah, if you look at it, like a lot of these guys may not be a better dunker than he is.
No, they might not be, but they don't want to put that on a showcase and have everyone see it for in front of your eyes. You know what I mean? So,
look, man, I do know that it's been a long time, and it was almost 20-some years when we asked LeBron, was he going to do it and why he didn't do it. I don't particularly remember his answer, But I do know that his answer wasn't. It didn't bring confidence that he would ever do it. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't something that he was just kind of like putting off for right now. It was from day one. It kind of felt like he had no interest in doing it. Mm-hmm. And we had never really seen that. Like a guy of his stature and his ability to dunk be like, no, it's not really a priority, or it wasn't important. Like,
and he was the next.
Those aren't his words. Those are my words. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not remember exactly how he said it, so don't quote me on it. I just know that I left that conversation thinking that he may never do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Especially it was surprising too, because he was like the next Jordan. So, and Jordan did that. So it was like, oh, you're not going to do it?
When I kind of, when the conversation started, I kind of went in like, this guy could do it and win it several. Like, that's how I was thinking. Like, not only would he win, but he would probably win 1 or 2 or 3. Like, he could kind of break the record for winning the most.
Yeah.
But then that conversation just kind of went the other way. Like, I left it thinking he may never do it. And he did.
No.
On First Take yesterday, they talked about LeBron doing it, and Stephen A. Smith said that him never doing the slam dunk contest will be a stain on his career. Of all the things he's accomplished, it's one of the things that's like, it'll be a stain on his career. But
he said a stain on his career.
Stain on his career. That's Stephen A. But he was talking to Windhorse, and he asked Windhorse, do you know why he never did it? And Windhorse said, for the first one, his rookie season, he felt snubbed from making the All-Star game or starting in the All-Star game. I forgot what it was.
He might not have made it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think he made it. So he felt snubbed like that. And for that reason, he didn't do the dunk contest that year, his rookie season. So he felt, snubbed by that. So he decided not to do the All-Star game. And then he kind of brought up hurting his brand a little bit. If he ever were to lose the All-Star, lose the slam dunk contest, it would have hurt his brand. And that's what Windhorse said.
I've always thought personally.
So what was the question I just asked you?
Yeah. And I've always thought that.
Listen, I asked the question does losing hurt more than winning help?
It depends on who it is. For someone like LeBron, yes. For someone like Sharp, it shouldn't. Because you don't have much of a brand, Sharp. That would have been your brand.
I'm not saying that like all I'm saying is like the younger people, a lot of them guys, like, it's not important to them. A lot of them grew up winning slam dunk contests when they were younger, but they didn't really grow up like watching it every year and it being like the go-to thing like we did.
Yeah.
So they're not coming in. Most of these kids are born,
true.
Now after 2004, whatever
right.
it is. And they haven't watched the All-Star game and be like, man, I want to be a part of that dunk contest. They're saying, hey, I want to be an All-Star.
You're absolutely right. I don't think that gets talked about enough, that these guys who are now in the league who are being asked to do it grew up in a time where guys snubbed the dunk contest, didn't give a shit.
Mm.
They didn't care about it. So they saw their icon LeBron say, nah, who cares?
But yes, it was different. So you come in and Kobe, Vince come in, they like, man, I'm gonna do what Jordan did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to do that. I want to win that. Like, Vince Carter did it one time. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
Put on the show. Did it one time and then that was it.
It's interesting because it's like you see all the famous footage of the guys hold the camcorders and like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, don't they want, like, that's something you like dream about, right? Like,
but I don't even think the interest from a star perspective, non-basketball star. Remember how many people like used to be front row? Like, is that still the same? You know what I'm saying?
It looked like mostly all it didn't look as many celebrities, just basketball players.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it used to be like celebrity row. Like, most of the celebrities that I met while I was playing was majority of the times that I met people was at All-Star game. All-Star Weekend.
Yes, Stephen A. made the point where you look at the last few All-Star games, Cleveland last year, Utah. He goes, these are places that like celebrities don't want to go to. That, and obviously, yeah, I mean, you can obviously do it in LA and New York, but like, you're promoting different cities every year. But he was saying if you do it in areas like Chicago, New York, and LA every year, or Vegas, people and celebrities will come to that. It'll be more of a draw for people and more of an attraction. Guys may want.
I mean, I think celebrities, if a lot of them, if they have something to sell, they'll come, no matter where it's at.
Yeah.
If there's someone selling a movie or someone selling the album, you know what I'm saying? Like if they have something to sell, they'll come and help promote whatever they're doing. So that right there, I don't think place has something to do with it. Is it easier to go to Vegas or LA for some people than Salt Lake City? I'm sure it is. But I think the following as far as people coming to All-Star in different places is just the average person. Or the person, if you have it in Vegas, a lot of people from the West Coast is going to come to Vegas, but they're not coming to the particular All-Star game. They're coming to hang out and party and kick it.
Yeah.
You go to New York, you go to DC, you go to Atlanta, people are going to kick it. They're going to party. That's what it's like. It's like a festival. That's what it's about. For a lot of people. I mean, they're not going to them games and pay thousands of dollars for a ticket that they can watch on television. Most people aren't doing that. We got to be real about it. They are.
Especially the game itself, because we'll get to that, I guess. But I did think of one idea you could do if you wanted to spice up the dunk contest. You can get like some of the best dunkers of all time, put their heads together and think of a bunch of dunks. You put it on a spinning wheel, and then a guy who's about to dunk has to spin a wheel and do that dunk, and they'd be challenging dunks. Just an idea I came up with.
Definitely a way to spice it up.
At least maybe a round of that, like the wheel round or something. Instead of watching them miss 15 times, like you lose me, man. Even when they finally make it in the end, it's like, all right, great.
Well, how many times do you think they're gonna miss if they got to do something they never did before?
Maybe, yeah, but at least the spinning part would be cool. Not watching Cole Anthony put on his friggin' Timbs. I don't give a crap about that. Or watching a guy, you know what it is? Missing a bunch of dunks and hitting one. It's like watching one miss a bunch of putts and finally just tap it in at the end. You're like, oh yeah, good. There you go. Nice. Nicely done. It's like you feel bad after a while.
Maybe just before we just dismiss it or cancel it, maybe just put the 3-point contest last.
Yeah.
Yes. I do think that should happen anyway. That's the main.
Do that last, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and you get bigger stars.
Eventually, they're gonna have to do something different because people. It's almost. It kind of feels to me like they're just getting so many people to turn them down.
Yeah,
I mean, they're moving this. We had a guy moved up from the G League to do it.
Who won?
I don't even know if. Kenya Martin's son was a starter. I'm just saying, like, how many starters was in the event?
Jericho Sims, spot starter. Kenny Martin. He's a rotation player, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen him start before. I just don't know if he's a consistent starter or not for Houston. So who's a starter? Was anybody a starter?
I don't think any before.
I think Martin and Murphy have started a lot of games, and Sims, but usually.
I mean, Murphy's starting because Zion's in
injuries. Yes,
he's not starting when those guys are playing.
They're key players on their teams, but I don't think.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they're NBA players, so I know they can play. I'm just saying from a standpoint of starting and being a more recognizable name to the non-average fan.
Yeah, they weren't like day one.
Like Zion has all these, dunks, and I'm sure he'll probably never be in it, especially with him being injured. So missed out on some good names, man. That's what it is. I mean, just missed out on not only just good names, but good names that we know are great dunkers that we all would love to see.
I know. Yeah.
It's crazy because I'm a little younger than you guys, but like the dunk contests I remember growing up, there's not really many because like it's more along the lines of the guys who were who watched that. Like I remember Iguodala's and Nate Robinson's, Jason Richardson, but I was extremely young with that one.
Jay Rich had a good one. He was in Philly. Yeah. He has a really good one. So, it's interesting, man. I just don't know how we're gonna do it.
Yeah, well, maybe this ties into our next topic, the All-Star game itself. Maybe they move the whole Pro Bowl route where they kind of make it a whole weekend of East versus West, like festivities and games to get a whole winner with that. What they did. But I don't know if you guys even watched the Pro Bowl, but the whole festivities they had multiple flag football games and all the different like throwing competitions, and then it added up for the AFC versus the NFC. So maybe they'll do that. But yeah, so with our next one, so while we said Sixers dominated the weekend, McClung, and then Embiid had a really good game on Sunday in the All-Star game. It was called one of the worst basketball games according to Mike Malone, who's the coach of one of the teams. Also, Jaylen Brown said it was a glorified layup line, saying we got to figure out how to make the game a little more competitive overall. Do you guys think the All-Star game is broken? And obviously what we just talked about, how do you think we can fix the All-Star game, but kind of the weekend as a whole?
Well, let me let you in on a little secret. It's not really a secret. Guys want to be all-stars. They don't want to play in the All-Star game. And that's not new. All-Star weekend and All-Star break is a break. And guys want a break. That's what they want. So anything that's coming off as not being a break isn't anything they want to do. They're playing and training all year round, and they plan, and then all of a sudden they get a break, and you're like, nah, we want to take 3 or 4 of those days, and you come here and do all this stuff, and then go play in the game. While guys that is not in the All-Star break are somewhere chilling and relaxing on a vacation. So for you to be an All-Star, you got to do this. I don't know what you can do to make it different. They aren't trying to get hurt, extended. They aren't trying to do that.
It sounds like some guys do want to be more competitive, though. Like Embiid was heard. Mike Malone heard Embiid imploring his teammates to try harder and play defense
because of the way it was going. And we out here. Let's go ahead. But guys, they just want a break. That's not new. Like, it was guys way older than me that was looked at also like it's not a break. Like, I don't want to go and do all this. And our break was way shorter than their break.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Embiid didn't even come to the All-Star weekend until Sunday for the game. He dipped out and he was relaxing up until the Sunday for the game.
Yeah,
wasn't even there.
And Luka took off the second the game was over, they said.
Out. There was a lot of guys that didn't show up. I don't think, some other guys that maybe didn't show up till Sunday or whenever. If you're there, in the past, because it was required, you were required to be there because you had to do media day, practice sessions, and all this other stuff. You had to be available. I don't know the rules now. I don't know if they are supposed to do it and just decide not to do it and take the fine, or they don't have to do it. That says a lot. If guys are just showing up for the game, show up, do my responsibility, and some guys come in there and don't play. Or play me, fewer minutes.
There's no fixing. You would just scrap it?
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can scrap it. Like, I really don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just not a full game. I mean, I think maybe you just play a shorter game. Maybe you just play 2 quarters. And the shorter game, or you play a shorter game, and you say you go to a certain amount, but if it gets to be, if you get any kind of separation where the lead is kind of growing, the other team is just going to tap out because it's no winning in that particular game does what?
Yeah, that's the problem too. There's no real incentive at all.
Do they not get like an incentive, like a money incentive if they win?
I thought it goes to charity.
Oh, that's right.
I have no idea.
That's right.
It's like for every quarter you win, I think it's like $100K or something.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys, their incentive and a lot of incentives in bonuses in contracts
in getting to the All-Star game
is being an All-Star.
Yeah.
Not playing in the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So they've accomplished it. That's why I'm saying most of the guys want to be All-Stars, but they could care less about playing in the game.
Yeah.
But that's not new. It's guys that played in it and competed once they got there, but they didn't necessarily want to play. I mean, everybody's not like Kobe Bryant and Giannis where they come out there and they play hard every minute they out there. Most guys aren't like that.
Mm.
Well, and how can you say they're wrong if they're like, man, this is my break, and I'm not trying to go in the All-Star game and get injured. I'm trying to win a championship, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. We want them to play during the season. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know if there's a clean answer on how to help it if playing and winning isn't a priority. Like, I don't know how to do it. I know baseball has the if whoever wins, then you have home field advantage or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But we can't do that because we mix the teams up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Unless you did like a draft of just your conference, I guess.
You already have your conference.
That's true. That's true.
It's already split up like that.
Yeah, it's and that was to try to make it more entertaining too, but it makes other things more entertaining, like the draft, but it doesn't make the actual game more entertaining. It's like everything they're doing makes everything before the game more entertaining, but not the actual.
I mean, then they changed the order of pick starters, pick reserves first, so somebody wouldn't be picked last, but whoever's the last reserve pick would still be the last pick. Like, I didn't understand that.
It was a rough game, man. I try to remember what other All-Star games win. Like I saw a bunch of clips posted online. Someone posted like the 93 one. Guys were getting after it, man. I mean, yeah, they played weaker defense and they let you score, but it wasn't like an open layup line like Jaylen Brown said. It was I'll stay in front of you.
I think that that's what
I'm not going to foul you.
I think guys were. It was a. And I know a lot of you guys don't really know because you didn't necessarily, you didn't play in the league. So how a lot of pros play during the summer is they compete and they play hard, but they're not trying to get injured and they're not trying to injure anyone.
Yes.
So that's why a lot of them, when they play, they only play with pros because they kind of all have the same agenda.
Right.
I'm not going to give you anything easy, but I'm not going to be, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doing anything that's going to risk either one of us. That's how it is in the offseason. If they could just
All-Star games like two steps below that.
If they could just do that, and I think in the past, especially when I was younger, and then when I came in the league, I think that's how it was. It was like that. That's how guys played. Then you get down to the fourth quarter, and their competitive juices come in. But I think now it's just guys are just dribbling down jacket shots, and they go in there and throw the ball off the rim and dunk, and then do a layup. Like, it's just back and forth. Like, it's no resistance at all. So I just think if they could kind of get back to a pickup at UCLA, how they play there, or pick up in Vegas, or how they play, wherever they play at. If it was like that, it would be a little more competitive. But I'm not sure they want to do that.
Like, what was the one, 01, 02, the one where Iverson, they came back?
That was 01. That was 01.
That was great.
But they were also getting blown out that game.
They were, and they were trying hard.
And they tried to come back. And then, Kobe went off, and Kobe was on the other side. Like, Kobe made the big shot. Like, it was, and Steph made those 2 late threes. Like, it was a blowout. And then, because everybody was talking about how big the West was to the East that year.
Yep.
And then when they started coming back, it helped because it was in the Eastern Conference location where the crowd kind of got behind the team.
Yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see a close game. So then it became an exciting game and the crowd was in it and cheering for the team to come back. And then when they made it comeback, so it made it such a interesting and good game. But before that, it was kind of like, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the sense of guys didn't care. Like, we didn't have that. They just were just getting beat.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like they were just giving up layups. The other team was just out, scoreboard.
Yeah. 100%.
But I don't know if guys are interested in that as far as, how they play during the offseason. I just don't know if they're interested in that.
They used to turn it. I remember they used to turn it on in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's when, and it was notorious. It was like, okay, guys, because everyone was always like, oh man, I want to see Kobe on LeBron. I want to see LeBron on Kobe. They wouldn't really do that till like the fourth quarter happened. And then it was like, okay, so just make it one quarter. Make it one quarter of competitive play, and then that's it.
You saw a little bit of that with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum towards the end of that game.
That brings me to one of the ideas I had for the All-Star game, right? Because that was big because it was one-on-one. And the storyline of those guys. And I think some of the ideas I had were do King of the Court tournament, like a double elimination King of the Court tournament. You get 3 or 5 dribbles, whichever you want to do. I think that would make it competitive because guys tend to go at each other when they're one-on-one.
They're not interested in doing that.
Yeah, of course. Why? Yeah, they're not.
That's what I'm saying. If they're not interested in playing the game, they're not interested in doing any of that.
Those guys were interested in going one-on-one with each other, though. Tatum and Brown, that's the most they tried all game, those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, to do that and then to involve everyone.
Because you see guys go pretty hard at that. I watched the clip recently. It was it might have been like the USA workouts. It was Durant taking everyone to school, but they were playing like hard at it. Like they were. I mean, you had undersized dudes on Durant, but they weren't just giving it up. They were like playing hard one-on-one and it's like 7 seconds long. So it's like you lose and that's it. Like you're done. You have 2 hard 7-second turns to play, and then you're done for the day.
I'm just saying, like, that's a great idea. I'm saying they're not going to All-Star Weekend to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the other one would be a 3-on-3 tournament. You have an East bracket and a West bracket.
You still got to compete.
Yes. I'm trying to cheat to the system to make it like a shorter. I think part of it's so long. These guys are like, I'm not going to try hard for a whole game. And that there's a reason why they used to try hard in the fourth quarter. So if you just shorten it or try to figure out a game that shortens it.
Just make it two halves of 10 minutes each.
So they'll play harder for shorter and then be done with it after that because they don't want to run.
You can make 2 halves running clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's no guarantee there. But at least they're trying stuff. The other thing you could do, keep it as is. No, they're not going to try, but throw in possible rule changes you've been considering. Try that, like that half court 5-point.
Yeah, they can do 4 and 5-point shots.
Yeah, try that stuff. You might as well make it interesting. Like,
and then there'll be 4 and 5-point shots with no defense.
Yeah.
Yes, but you know what though? I mean, if you can't save the competitive aspect of it, at least make it a circuit. Make it a full-on circus because right now it is a circus, but you're trying to make it look like a basketball game.
They're shooting those half-court shots anyways, though. So now you're getting 5 points for making those shots. Lillard was knocking down those half-court shots.
Yeah, but again, it's to see something new like that, a 5-point spot. It would make it somewhat like interesting at least because now it's just you're trying at least something.
Mm-hmm.
Or have the rim go up and down or something. I don't know. Like, we're talking about anything to make this like more interesting because if you can't up the competitive nature of the game, then change everything else. Then mess with the court and the rims then.
Just announce the All-Stars and give them the time off.
Or that too.
Announce who the All-Stars are have something special or something like that, and guys can mix with fans and do whatever they have to do. And having the game doesn't change who makes the team.
No.
Yeah. And it's Sunday, make like a Legends game instead of the guys who are currently playing. That can be something too. Making a Legends East-West game.
That would be cool.
Just give them the weekend off, man. That's what they want. They want the weekend off. They want to be an all-star and go take a break and come back in the season. I'd rather them give them no all-star weekend and knock out some of those low management games.
Yeah.
I'd rather that.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
a compromise, yeah.
See, I don't think that would fix that either, though, because they
No, I'm just saying, if you ask me what I would rather that.
and still do the 3-point contest and all that stuff
Don't
too.
do anything.
That's it. Nothing. Just nothing. Make it a real break, all-star break, not all-star weekend, all-star break, a real break.
Guys are making a lot of money right now.
Mm.
A lot of money. And this extra stuff to get something. It's like I said, a lot of them aren't growing up and like that's important to them. A dunk contest, those contests aren't important. Playing the game and getting better, winning championship, that's a little more important. But All-Star Weekend isn't important. Being an All-Star is important, but not All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
It's almost like being an All-Star, this comes with it. That's the feeling.
Yeah.
Since I'm an All-Star, I got to do this. I don't really want to. So I go out and just go through the motions in the game, and I'm not doing any other special events. I don't want to do that. And you can't blame them. Like it's not important. So they shouldn't necessarily get criticized because it's not important. It's just like it's not important. So the league just make an adjustment.
Do you think if they went to East versus West and did the baseball home field advantage for whoever wins, do you think that would make it more competitive?
It would make it more competitive, but guys would be complaining. You have a team that's an eight game lead, and you don't have home court because the All-Star team lost.
You would have those good teams like Jaylen Brown and Tatum yelling at their teammates, going, "Get your ass up and play."
Yeah, you would get a more competitive game, but guys it would be an issue down the road. Like I play 82 games season, and I lose home to get home court. And I got a good cushion, and I lose it because guys that played in the All-Star game, that some of them only one of them is on my team.
Do baseball players complain about that? Did they ever complain to that switch?
I don't know. Most of them probably don't make it to the Final World Series.
Yeah,
because they don't have as many playoff teams. Like, I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah. I don't hear much about. Yeah, MLB doesn't really get much airtime anyway, so I don't think it'd be news.
I will say though, yeah, that's true. The good teams though have most of the representatives. You have 4 players from Milwaukee and Boston, so you have a vested interest in doing. And
you have one from Denver.
They only have one from Denver. That's
so
true.
Denver ended up having the best record in the league, and they got a built-in, thin air to help. And you telling them they can have 4 home games and they had the best record and they lost that because a team lost the All-Star game? Man, you think Mike Malone complaining about the All-Star game?
Yeah, he wouldn't.
Mike, I know Mike personally. Mike coached me in Cleveland. Mike would be killing that rule.
He hated that game, and it's so funny because he yanked his player off that game just because it was just like, man, I don't even want you in this anymore. Just get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure the host cities would have a problem if they got rid of these All-Star games. I read that Cleveland, I think in direct spending last year, the city made around $142 million during the All-Star weekend last year. So cities would definitely be upset by this, the host cities at least.
Oh, no. Host cities, it's worth your while to do it. I mean, you got all those people coming in. Like, it's people that'll, like Like my son, I'm talking about my younger boy. My younger boys, just Steph Curry does no wrong, and the other son, LeBron, does no wrong. So if it was up to them, they would ask me to take them anywhere those guys go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I get it. Like, people are going to go and watch and see them and be a part of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, from a player perspective, like, it's evident to me they want to be all-stars but not play, not be around for the weekend. I think they would be ecstatic if they were just all-stars and they can go take a break and I'll see you when the season starts back up.
Yeah. Well, the decision makers in the NBA got their hands full with this one. Okay, so the big thing. So one of the things that came out of the All-Star game weekend pretty much wasn't the game. Right? I think it was more so. I think people had more reaction to the draft more so than the actual game itself. And the big standout of that was Jokic, the 2-time MVP, going the second to last pick and pretty much picking himself, just going to LeBron's side without LeBron ever actually saying he was picking Jokic. But the guy who was supposed to be a reserve, our guy Joel Embiid, was the number 1 overall pick. So there you go. The Sixers dominating the weekend again. But do you guys make anything of that, or is it not a big deal that Embiid is seen as the overall, like, the dominant guy among his peers, whereas the 2-time MVP, the front runner again to go 3 straight, is not even being picked? He's the second to last guy in the All-Star draft. Does this a kind of set an alarm off for anybody?
Not me. I mean, picking the guy for that All-Star game and picking the guy during the season is different. It's really different. So it didn't shock me that, Joker didn't get picked in this particular All-Star game, because it's not a game that it's going to involve a guy like him where they're going to give him the ball. Guards and stuff not going to give him the ball out top and move around and let him go. They're not going to do that. That's not how this game is. It's a showcase. And he knows it. I mean, Coach Malone, they all said it. Like, it's not a game for him. So, no, it didn't surprise me at all.
I got into some trouble over the weekend talking about this with Denver fans.
Careful.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I wasn't really that harsh. I just said, I more so asked the question: Does this reflect how his all-star peers see him? I'm not saying we should put any merit into it. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not, obviously. I just said, does him being second to last pick represent and reflect what his all-star peers see him? I don't think it's that unfair of a question, because a lot of people say what you said, Eric. A lot of Denver fans. He hates the all-star game. He doesn't try. His skill set's not built for it. But Jokic and Embiid have the ball in their hands a lot. Yes, one looks to pass, one looks to go for the bucket. But if you're a guy in the all-star game and you want to showcase things and you're a guard, do you want either one of them on your team? Embiid's a ball. I mean, Embiid hogs the ball. He has a ball in his hands a lot. At least if Jokic is on your team, he's passing it to you, and then you can do crazy stuff with the ball in your hands once you have it. So I didn't really understand in general everyone saying his skill set's not made for the All-Star game, because he looks to pass it almost every time anyway. So what's the difference, really? Right?
His skill set is made for the All-Star game. He's just not a one-on-one player. He's just not going to go out there and try to go one-on-one and try to break you down and go between his legs and go and do a flash and dunk. Like, that's just not what he does. Yeah, but he's not the only one that's like that. So
that's true.
What is he going to get out of doing that over and over again?
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting. Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to come out and shoot deep threes, and if he goes and get a dunk, he's a 7-footer. So, I mean, if he's not going to go and just shoot 15, 17 footers. Like, it's just the way the game was played.
It was dunks or launching 3-pointers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's for what? Now, if the game was played and it was played with some form of resistance, it's different. Then his play will come back in he'll get him the ball, and can you create a double, or can you get a guy hit a backdoor pass and all that stuff? Like, you can play basketball, but it's no resistance. It doesn't fit him. That's a legit comment. It doesn't fit him. He's not the only one.
It's second to last, man. That's rough.
He might
have been last. We don't know. He said he only got up because he didn't know Markkanen was still there. He said he thought he was the last pick. Is what he said.
Yeah, I don't take much into
which I don't know about
big stuff like that. I mean, your last pick of what, 10 guys?
Well, that's what Durant said. Durant said that's like being the lowest ranked millionaire. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, so okay, he's the 10th best player in the league. That's a bad thing? Like, it's just that don't make any sense.
But I wonder if the league changed it because there were some complaints from some players that don't want to be
from
named.
The reserves. That's what we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
But you still know whoever the last reserve pick was the last pick.
I know. You're not fooling anybody.
You're not hiding anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, that last reserve pick is a top 24 player on that day in the world.
You really have two last picks at that point. You have the starter last pick and the reserve last pick because they're last pick within their group.
And you had it if you do it the other way too.
No, totally. That's what I'm saying. So they're both last pick. Like you're not.
Yeah, I'm saying if you did the starters first or last, it's still the same thing.
You're just last in your group. So I mean, it's not. You're both last actually. Markkanen and who was last pick in their reserves?
So if you're trying to avoid guys getting picked last, don't have a draft.
I know.
Just play East-West or put names in the pot and let Giannis and LeBron pick the names out the pot.
Yeah.
See what your team is.
Yeah.
If you're trying to, hide feelings, whatever it is you're trying to do, there's ways to do it. Keep East-West. Pick names out of the pot. Pick these reserves. I pick one, you pick one. Pick these starters. I pick one, you pick one. That's your team. Go play. Let's go play.
Yeah.
That's how you eliminate a guy being picked last, since that seems to matter.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Marcus?
I was saying there were some funny Sixers speculation, fan speculation on Twitter after LeBron picked the Embiid number 1. Saying LeBron spent a lot of time in Philadelphia this past summer, or 2 summers ago when they were filming that Adam Sandler movie because he was part of the production company behind that. And picking Embiid number 1, could LeBron come to Philly? Could he complete the process?
That's not happening, no.
If Braun wanted to embrace that whole villain aspect, you come to Philly. You really become the villain if you come to Philly and win.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true. But
that's the last stage of his
coming isn't
journey.
True, but yeah, that's true.
Bring Bronny, bring LeBron, bring them all.
Yeah.
All right, so last topic here. We got 25 games left in the season, so not really halfway point. We're past the halfway point. I think like 60% of the season's already done. But first game, it's gonna be a tough stretch we got coming up here. But the first game, Thursday night, TNT, 7:30. We're taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Right now, just look, we are a 4-point favorite at home. We should have everyone ready to go for this one. Who do you guys have in this first game post All-Star break on Thursday night?
We win. We got to win. I mean, I think going forward, every game's a big game, and you got a team that you could see if you go to the finals. So I think especially playing them on national TV, this is a confidence builder, and it's sort of putting your stamp down that, hey, we're going to be a team that you're going to have to come see. So I think we got to go get it.
So let me first say I saw a Derek Bodner tweet because I was looking at our schedule and it's getting there. It's getting rough. Memphis, Boston, Miami twice, and then they play 12 of the next 15 on the road, including 4 sets of back-to-backs. So I wish Embiid would not have played in that All-Star game and he would have just rested and gotten ready for this because this sounds like a gauntlet. So every game, I mean, from here on out is so important for the seeding.
Especially in your home games.
Oh man, yeah. This is rough. This stretch is rough, and then we talked about this way in the beginning of the season. That last stretch is rough.
Yeah, and if you remember, early in the season we talked about this stretch. Remember, I talked about the stretch right after All-Star break.
Yep, this one.
Yeah,
and then the next,
and then the next one you talked about the one that was later in the season.
Yeah, man.
Especially if you don't have cushion, or if you fight it, if you all of a sudden you're a third seed. And then, but 4 and 5 are only a game or two behind you. It matters.
Yeah.
You talk about, putting yourself in position where you can, avoid the top, instead of playing maybe 2 of the top 4 teams, so five teams, you could end up playing 3 out of the top 5 teams based on losing a few games. That's how important going from 3 to 4 is.
Yeah, it's huge. And we don't know what Giannis's injury going to look like. He's not going to come back and play till pain goes away. So you never know what's going to happen there. We might make up some games, and Boston's friendly at 1. It's just every game from here on out is so important, and I'm really happy we're healthy right now. We're very healthy, and Embiid talked about that going into the All-Star break. As far as this game goes, man, I just have that must-win aspect to us. I think we win. Is there a spread? You say the spread, Marcus?
4 points.
4 points? I'd say we cover that.
We'll cover.
Yeah.
I say we'll cover.
I think we cover that.
Yeah. These next two, Memphis and then Boston, both nationally televised games. So we got TNT Thursday night and then ABC Saturday night. And we'll talk about Boston game on our Friday episode, but man, tough stretch we got coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it goes to show you how impactful that first week, that first stretch of games we lost. Looking at the schedule now with 3 games back from the 1 seed. I mean, those games, everything matters, man.
It really does.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for our recapping of the All-Star break weekend. We'll see you guys Friday, and as we're hopefully coming off a big win against Memphis.
All right, take it easy.
All right, guys.
You guys.